Hello everyone, hello, hope you're doing okay. Welcome to episode 34 of Look Back. Yeah, basically where I go over things I reviewed on the channel 1 year ago and 5 years ago. I've been doing the channel for about 7 years now, I think it is. Pretty much 7 years this year, I think. I'll go off if my maths is actually working, which has been known to fail me every now and again. But basically, so that's what I've been doing. So I've been doing the channel for that long. I can actually look back at what I reviewed at those time periods and sort of say whether I still like them or not, whether, well, they're still around or not, whether I still think the same results that I gave them back then, same mark out of 5. And just generally talk about them. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting one, really. Usually sort of find that most things are still around after 1 year, to be honest with you, but 5 years can be pretty much a different story. And also some things, just generally don't think either grew on me or, don't quite agree with the same mark that I gave in the past. So we shall see, we shall see. So yeah, so first of all, I did do a couple of, well, let's just try and make sure I've got the the graphics working. You never know. Let's have a see. Basically, long story short is that I've got loads of graphics to go on, and sometimes it can be a bit problematic to get them working all all together. So we'll find out. Let's see. I've got let's have a look. There we go. Well, there we go. So that's a start. So got a good start there. Got the background there going on. So basically, I've got essentially captions, basically, and some images of what I reviewed. And basically, I just try to sort of make sure that I can show them all at the same time. Now let's have a look. 1 year ago. There we go, 1 year ago. So I'll just talk about the member review. I did a couple of member reviews. You can see here, yes, I did basically a Cadbury Dark Milk Ice Cream review for the members. Bronze level or above, get some special exclusive reviews. I did these about a year ago now. So I didn't do them 5 years ago, basically. I've only been doing them maybe 2 years now, member reviews. Not sure when the member program started, but either way, yeah. So basically, there's tons of reviews, about 150 reviews. I tend to review things I don't normally review on the channel: ice creams, cereals, maybe chocolate spreads, stuff like that. So anyway, so I also did Cadbury Dark Milk Ice Cream. Is that still around? Don't know. Dark milk. What happened to that as well? Is that still going, dark milk? I think someone mentioned there's a new dark milk chocolate bar coming out from Cadbury at some point. I can't remember what it was now. But I also did another dark chocolate this time, Malteser's dark ice cream as well. So yeah, a couple of interesting reviews there for the members, that's for sure. So if you are a member, go check those out. If you're interested in becoming a member, the link's in the description. I'm sure I'll mention somewhere on this screen now as well. So hopefully, if you're interested in that, great to support the channel and also get something back as well. So interesting one. So yeah, I think I might jump to go actually what I did. Maybe I'll go straight back to 5 years ago, actually. I think that's probably better, a bit more. And then we'll go to 1 year ago. So 5 years ago, what did I review? Now I've got special score bar at the bottom for the scores. Try and get the, let's have a look. Hang on. There we go. Yes. There we go. Things are appearing. There we are. I think we've probably got about there now. So basically I tried to do about four things, 4 reviews I did in the past for each year group. Sometimes it can be a bit more, sometimes a bit less. So I tried to work it out that it sort of equates to about the same. So what did I do first of all? Well, here we go. This is actually a screenshot of it because it was difficult to get the actual screenshot together of all of them. But this was this one I did: Thornton's wafer rolls versus Galaxy wafer rolls. There's loads of different ones here. I think there's a hazelnut curl Galaxy one. There's a chocolate cream or chocolate creme Galaxy wafer roll. Thornton's double chocolate wafer curls and Thornton's chocolate caramel. As well at the same time, wafer curls. So I did all those at once. I don't normally do them these days. Basically, it's just that they're so difficult to do too many reviews at once. But I used to kind of try and do it back in the day. So it was one of those. But nowadays I try to sort of spread them out a bit more. Sometimes maybe I'll do a comparison of verses. But back in the day, I used to just lump them all together, and it does make doing look backs a bit more difficult. But long story short is most of these were pretty nice actually. I did essentially the hazelnut curl ones. I did give. Let's say we'll see. I did give them basically a 4 out of 5 back in the day. I think maybe the chocolate creme one I said was slightly better, might have been a 4.5 out of 5 as opposed to the hazelnut curl one. But I did think they were both very nice, and obviously the hazelnut one was essentially it was basically a bit like having sort of Nutella inside your sort of like this sort of like little straw. They were basically quite similar products. They were sort of essentially like long tubes with a filling inside, basically. And that's, I don't just, you guess you do kind of you see them in home bargains a bit, don't you, this kind of product, where you kind of basically just see these like, I don't know, like sticks of chocolate of some kind. Sometimes they're branded, but you kind of feel like they're imported and maybe done on the cheaper bit. I've seen some Oreo ones a few times, things like this, sort of like, filled with Oreo cream and things. To be honest, they did sound very nice from what I was mentioning to them. So I think, I feel like this one probably should be about the same, I think. I feel like, I feel like it's probably a similar score for these ones, really. The hazelnut ones from there. from Galaxy were quite nice, I think, but I think they lacked the air of quality that the Thornton's ones tend to have, to be honest with you. And the Thornton's ones, had a bit more of an interest, like double chocolate wafer curls and chocolate caramel as well. I mean, they sound a lot more extravagant as well, whereas the Galaxy ones were a bit more standard, like hazelnut curl, hazelnut cream and chocolate cream as well. The Thornton's ones just had a bit more going for them. Now, it's a bit of a strange one because Thornton's, I would say, the products tend to not be quite as interesting or quite as have much of an air of quality about them these days. That definitely seems to have, they're not bad, but a lot of them you can pick up and they seem to be quite cheap products, and some of them, even the more expensive ones, are okay. They're quite standard. So I think that's definitely something that's changed. I think this was kind of possibly where they're on the transition from being a relatively high-end product to actually becoming a bit more of a, everyday, rather mundane one. So yeah, so that was the Galaxy ones, 4 out of 5. I think that's probably, I'm going to agree with that, to be honest with you. I think that's the gist of it. Let's have a look so I can get the. I'm still trying to get my essentially my there we go. Yeah, my bearings with my graphics. It takes me a couple of minutes just to get the bearings with them. But the Thornton's ones, as I say, I think let's see, I gave them a 4.5 out of 5 basically. And as I say, for those reasons mentioned, they were just had a bit more going about them, a bit more interesting. They were just a bit more, basically just had just a bit more upper end. And I think 4.5 out of 5 probably is about right as well. So again, I think I'm going to give them the same, make them the same basically. I feel like they sounded about right. Based on what I said, I think they sounded okay. And they're quite an interesting product actually, but I don't think you can get either of them anymore. I mean, Galaxy did quite a few products back in the day. One of them, what were they called? They did those, I think they were called stirrables or something, stirrables, something like that, where basically they were sort of like a generic Galaxy bar, but each sort of bar you could split into two. It wasn't a two-fingered bar, but imagine like a relative sort of regular sort of Galaxy bar with segments. And rather than having just one segment or like a few segments, it was just one segment, and it was shaped a bit like a spoon. And the idea was you'd split it in half, 2 spoons basically. You had like a weird semi-spoon sort of shape. It was still essentially a finger of chocolate, but they had like a little pattern that made it look a bit like a spoon. And the idea was you'd stir your hot drink with them and then presumably eat them. I don't think they were, they couldn't dissolve basically, and they were quite nice actually, but they don't do them anymore. So Galaxy seems to have just gone all out on, I would say, less interesting products these days. I certainly think that's the case. They're not bad or anything, but I don't know, they're just sort of typical, they're just like Galaxy chocolate filled with something, aren't they? Like, cookie crumble or whatever. They do some dark milk ones and things like this. But essentially, they're kind of quite, similar-ish products, really. So, yeah, so those are interesting that they did that. And as I said, I don't think you can get them anymore. They're the kind of product that you might see perhaps in Home Bargain, something like that, might still kind of exist. But, yeah, I've not seen them anyway. So let me know if you have seen them, but I certainly haven't. All right, so yes, what do we do next? We did a sort of versus one here. Cadbury, what's the Choco Sandwich biscuits versus Guyon Mega Duo chocolate biscuits. So you've seen these ones; they're very similar kind of affairs. They're using like long tubes of biscuit, quite sort of biscuit tight. The wrapping is. There's no excess space in there, so they're quite an interesting one. They look basically very similar. So again, because it was a versus one, a bit difficult for me to, actually properly, do the graphics for these, but I'll try anyway. So what did I say? I thought it was a bit. I was going back and forth with this one. I originally said that the Cadbury one was better, then I kind of cut back into the review saying, no, I think the Guyon one was better. Guyon is a Spanish company. You'll see them quite often in usually maybe I don't know. I've seen them in Asda and possibly Morrison's as well. So they are about, maybe Sainsbury's. So they are in, they are sort of there. Interesting one, but I think the gist of it was, I kind of was back and forth with them. I think they kind of had pluses and minuses. I think the biscuit quality was maybe slightly better in the Cadbury one, but again, don't know, a bit more like a shortbread biscuit, whereas the Guyon one's a bit more like a rich tea biscuit. But again, kind of a bit back and forth. And chocolate cream again was a bit more tasty in the Cadbury one, but then I thought, well, hang on, is it a bit too sort of creamy? So I was a bit back and forth with both of them. So they both kind of had the pluses and minuses, but at the end of the day, they were both about 3.5 out of 5. And I think, I think that's probably, it's sort of like a chocolate digestive is a 3.5 out of 5. And these better than chocolate digestives. I don't know. They kind of feel like they're possibly much of a muchness to a chocolate digestive, really. A bit like a bourbon. They're okay. You know what? I think I'm probably going to say, I think these days I probably would make them a 3 out of 5, I think. So I'm going to say a 3 out of 5. So still, I don't think they're necessarily worse, or my opinion's gone down on them. I think it's just the fact that I think these days I would probably rate them a 3 out of 5, maybe a 3.5. But based on what I was saying, they don't really stand up too much, to be much different than, say, a bourbon biscuit. I think that's probably about right, to be honest with you. So, but nice biscuits all the same. Nice biscuits all the same. Yeah. And then what did we have? We had these were from Thornton, not Thornton's, M&S. You might be able to see the picture. The picture quality was a bit low, and it's a bit harder to get the M&S pictures sometimes. What did I give these ones? I gave these a 2 out of 5. These ones, saying they're basically M&S milk chocolate sea salt fudge bites, they were called. I thought they were okay, but for me, fudge, they were quite like authentic fudge, or at least the fudge you get in sort of, I don't know, the Lake District or wherever you would, wherever you get sort of fudge in these like little rural places that sell it. It's very sweet for me. It's a bit too sweet, It's one of those. Hi there, Scott. How are you doing? Great to see you in Portugal, you say? Yes, not bad at all. How's it going there? You having a nice time? Hope you're having a good one. Great to see you. Great to see you. Portugal, all right for some. Yeah, I hope you're having a nice time there, Scotty. Hope you're having a good one. Just going to see about picking up some goodies. I didn't see anything special. Any Portuguese exclusives? Yeah. Oh, I hope you're having a good one. I'm sure. The problem is it might melt. So you have to be careful, I guess. Yeah. Oh, I hope you're having a good one, though, Scotty. Yes. Let me. Yeah. Well, definitely. I'd love to let me know what you find. Just talk about these M&S fudge bites at the moment. They're okay. They're okay. I gave them a 2 out of 5, but for me, fudge is just a bit too sweet. That's my problem. Don't know what your opinion on fudge is, Scotty, but it's just a bit too sweet for me. Yeah, I don't mind fudging like Cadbury's fudge, but it's not quite so sweet. I thought the texture and and the flavour and things just didn't really help for me. But I think fudge fans would like them. But I think for me, it's probably a similar result. Really, I think it's just I think a similar one for me. I think I'm going to get the same 2 out of 5 for me. Fudge, authentic fudge, is too sweet. It kind of hurts my teeth a bit too much, So it's one of them, I think. So yeah. Oh well, I think fudge fans, I say, would like it. And hi, Alan, great to see you, Alan. Great to see you've got a football stadium this time, which is at United. I think you're a United fan, aren't you? I think so. Yeah. I'm not doing too bad, though, Alan. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Catching up on things. I'm still not quite back on track with things, but I'm getting back on. I've just been doing I've been so busy this week. Lots of normal things at work, and I've been trying to sort everything out to get rid of all the rubbish I don't need. So doing loads of tip trips and stuff like that. Just tagged up IKEA trips to get some more things to store things in. It's been a bit of a busy week, really. But yeah. So how you doing, Alan? Everything going well for you? Hope all's good. Yes, what do we get finally for the 5 years? Remember these? Yes, these Oreo and Cadbury Joy Fills, I think they were called. It wasn't Joy Fulls, I think it's Joy Fill. Was it? Let's have a look. I've written it down. Joy Fills, yes, not Joy Fulls, Joy Fills. So they were kind of like a very strange product, these ones. They're like a pack of these, essentially what could be described probably as Crave cereal type affairs going on. So we Crave cereal. So they were actually, I think, just like having cereal, really. And, and I gave them the 4 out of 5 if you were taking them as a cereal, but a 2 out of 5 if you actually as a chocolate product. Now I don't think I did it on the review, but I did test them by pouring them into a bowl of cereal, into a bowl and having them with milk, and they worked really well actually. Like an extravagant Crave almost. I don't think I reviewed all 4 of these, by the way. I've got 4 in a picture. I think I only reviewed 3 of them, but if it's for all I might have reviewed the other one separately, I think, because I couldn't get it at the same time. But it's when I reviewed things all at once. I try not to do that these days because it just gets a bit too much, a bit difficult to manage, and But essentially, these ones, they were kind of they were just too much like a cereal. So you imagine eating like a Crave cereal chunk without milk, just separately. It works better with cereal, and this was like these really. And I gave them the 2 out of 5. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is I just don't think they work as a non-cereal product. Basically, I really think that's the case. So it's a bit of a difficult one. This one, bit of a difficult one. Oh, hello, John. Jen, how are you doing, John? Jen. Certainly turned Japanese there, John. Yes, hope you're doing well there, Jen. How are you doing? Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. It's been a long time. It has been a long time. Yeah, where have you been and what have you been up to? I hope you're doing okay. And what chocolate antics have you had? Have you had any? I know you've sometimes had a bit of trouble with nice products and things. 2 stars is generous. I think I probably do agree with you there, to be honest with you. I think they're not horrible, but they just don't work as a chocolate product. They just really don't, do they? And to be honest with you kind of took the words out of my mouth there, really. I think it's definitely 1.5 out of 5. I don't think they're horrible, so I think a 1 is too far down. Because I tend to leave 1s out of 5s for something that's just not very nice. And they weren't horrible. but they just didn't work as a chocolate products. Yeah, so they were really poor. Can you still get these, Alan? Have you seen these at all? I've not. I must admit, I've not seen them for a very well. Yeah, I've not been looking for them. I must admit. I mean, there was a cereal. They were great. If you've just viewed them as a cereal, if you bought a pack of these, put milk on them in the bowl, you'd probably be relatively happy. But other than that, I think they just don't work. They just really didn't work. It was I don't know what they were thinking with that product, to be honest with you. And so it was literally like Crave cereal. And again, it's not horrible, but you don't eat it without milk, do you? You eat it as a cereal. So yeah, very odd product, that one. Certainly not sure what was going on there, but certainly yeah, not not a good product. Let's put it that way. All right, so let's. I'll tell you. Well, I think we've done all the ones from 5 years ago. So let's try and move myself back now. Again, I need to try and find the right. Let's have a look. There we go. 1 year ago, and also if I can change the other. If I can find it. I've made this too complicated sometimes for myself. I've basically got too many different images. Hang on, there we go. There we are. That's brilliant, perfect. Okay, great stuff. I get there in the end, but it's just trying to find it is quite difficult. So 1 year ago, we did a few interesting ones 1 year ago, actually. Very interesting ones, to be honest with you. What should I start with? Yeah, well, the Toblerone, what was it called? The Toblerone Gold Bar, was it called? So what was it actually called? The Toblerone Golden Caramel, it was called. Do you remember this one? I'm sure this is still around, and I gave this a very poor mark, actually, I really gave this a really poor. I gave this a 1.5 out of 5. I think I really wasn't impressed. I just thought it just didn't taste of anything. I just couldn't taste it. It's maybe like their answer to sort of like blonde caramel or blonde chocolate, this sort of thing. It was, I don't know, 1.5 out of 5 though. I think that might have been a bit too extreme, that, to be honest with you. I think for me, it just was a bit, I was just expecting so much and it really tasted bland. I just couldn't get much of a flavour from it. But nonetheless, I don't think it was kind of that bad. I think that's possibly a bit too harsh, that, for me. But as I say, what I said in the review, it was just texture. I just got the texture. And so, in Toblerone, you have like sort of nougat bits and this, that, and the other, and it's quite a nice texture and things. With this one, though, I felt like the chocolate just didn't really give much at all. And I've not had one since, I must say, because they're quite, it's a massive bar. And obviously, I do review quite a lot of chocolate, so I can't I can't be too frivolous with my calorie intake because basically I've got to save it for other things to review. But I do think probably 1.5 out of 5 was maybe a bit harsh, although I could be wrong. I just think, I don't know. Yeah. Enjoyed this more than Monu, but didn't rush out to buy another one. A little disappointed. Yeah. I think it just wasn't, maybe I was just a bit more extreme in the way I conveyed that, really. But I think that was generally the gist of what I was thinking as well. It just wasn't, it was just disappointing. It didn't have what you'd expect it to have. And I think Alan might have given it a 3 out of 5. I think for me, though, a 2, I think is probably, it's probably what I would give it. So it's up. It is up a grade. It's gone up, half a grade, half a mark. But, I don't know. Yeah, were you a 3 out of 5 with that one, Alan? I imagine that's possibly what you might have given it. But I think, I think for me, and just disappointing, just below average. And I feel like, the chocolate, I don't know, it should have been really nice. And it was very disappointing. Sometimes the disappointment can also play on the fact that, you impact the results sometimes. If you expect them to be really nice, and it just isn't. Sometimes that can make a big difference. But don't know. Disappointing on that one. Very disappointing, that. Right, so let's see if I can find the image. Yeah, so then what do we have? Then that yes, there it is. Milka Choco Wafer, I think it's called. Milka Max Choco and Wafer. There we go. An interesting one, this one. I actually gave this a very big score. I gave this 4.5 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5 a year ago. Now I do, my favourite chocolates tend to have sort of mix of wafery bits and biscuity pieces and things. And this did tick all those boxes out. It's a massive bar as well. These Milka Max bars are really big, like 300-gram bars, I think, generally. Although it can depend on the type of bar. The lovely, bubbly ones they do. A bit lighter because they're just lots of air in them, I guess. But really big bar, lots of textures. I said that the wafer and the had chopped hazelnuts in as well, which is usually not something I'm massively mad on, but it really worked well. Had hazelnut cream fillings, had a bit of like a Kinder Bueno-y affair going on. Maybe, I forgot what it's called now. The chocolate spread that Kinder do. I forgot what it's called now, but never mind. Anyway, you know the one I mean. What's it called? I forgot what it's completely called now. Anyway, similar sort of thing to that, Kinder Bueno-y sort of thing, hazelnut spread, that kind of thing going on, or hazelnut cream from Kinder Bueno sort of thing. Lots of nice chocolate. Milka chocolate's not my favourite, but it's not bad. I do quite like it. I'll say in this big bar, it was just lovely, I think it just ticked all the boxes for me. It's a no frills bar. I said it kind of lacked a sort of X factor, what have you. I think, based on what I said, based on the fact that, it's got loads of filling, loads of different textures and tastes and flavours, just that perhaps some kind of extra pizzazz to make it a 5 out of 5. I think a 4 out of 5 probably is about right, I think. So I'm going to say that one's the same, I think. Nice bar, that one. They do quite a few in this range as well. Some are better than others. Some are a bit not quite balanced just as well as you'd hope than others. But but pretty nice. These Max bars are pretty good across the range, I think. I scoffed a whole Oreo one last weekend. Very tasty, good textures. Yeah, even the Oreo one kind of works pretty well, doesn't it? Normally Oreo ones, sort of, we've been there and seen them, haven't we? We've got the t-shirts and this, that, and the other with the Oreo ones, but it's just got a few extra things about it. It's just a ridiculously big bar, and it's hard to put down. And as you say, just good textures, lots going on. It's not restricted to just one or two things. There's quite a lot going on there, and there's quite a lot there. So even Oreo, they managed to make taste quite nice, actually. Slab of Oreo rather than wheat chunk. Yeah, exactly. This is it. Yes, they have it's got a big layer, hasn't it, of Oreo, which is how they should do it, really. Yeah. I don't know if I've had this to review twice, I think, Alan, and I think either time I've just not got round to it and end up having to eat it, I think. I don't think I've ever reviewed the Milka Max Oreo one. It's definitely been on my list, as I say, at least twice, but I don't think still think I've not done it. But yeah, actually that's how it's done, right? Rather than these sort of liquidized chunks of it, semi-liquidized, very small sort of little bits of Oreo, which aren't really Oreo, and they're just in loads of cream. You actually get a bit more of the Oreo experience with this one. So yeah, definitely is the way to do it, I think. I definitely think you're on the right track there for sure. Yeah, it's easy, I think I don't know what it is with these Oreo products. They just seem to so often, mess it up. Now, what do we have? An interesting one here. And these are totally out of the blue, totally left of field. I mean, I don't know where. Yeah, very strange product, this one. Maltesers Raspberry Biscuits. Yes, interesting one. Now, I do like the Malteser biscuits generally. I do feel like they've got a really nice crunch. A bit like Rocky Bars, the regular ones, not the caramel ones, which are not like Rocky Bars at all themselves, strangely enough. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5. I said the problem with it was that there was not enough sort of raspberry flavour, basically. It just was a bit. It just didn't quite work. It kind of got lost a bit in all the regular taste, and I thought there wasn't really much. It was meant to have honeycomb bits as well in this biscuit, and I couldn't really see or taste those. Although I think that might be the case with most of these Malteser biscuits, and some of them I generally quite like, actually. But in this one, because of the fact that things just weren't working for it, you're looking at other areas and finding other things that just aren't quite right with it. Nonetheless, it was nice. I just felt like it just wasn't great, It did have a bit of a raspberry flavour, but it kind of got lost after a bit of time. I feel like, I don't know, if anything, I'd probably lower this one. I feel like it's probably one of those where, if anything, it is probably one that's not quite as, I don't know. It was it was disappointing, I think. Raspberry flavour sounds really good, but it just didn't quite work with the biscuit flavour. Wasn't enough. Maybe it just didn't quite balance that right with the rest of the sort of flavours in there as well, or the textures or what have you. Just got a bit lost in it, basically. I'm not too sure, but I think it was okay. It's either gone down to 3, maybe a 3.5. These were a bit meh, really. Yeah, I think that's basically it, Alan. They just were a bit, Yeah, I think you kind of summed it up pretty well there, to be honest with you. I think that's kind of a bit of a good summary there. And I think for that reason, I think it probably is a 3 out of 5. I think it is a bit less, I think they are worse than the 3.5. So I'm going to say, 3 out of 5. I think, like you said, they were just a bit forgettable. And it's a real shame because raspberry flavour, I mean, that sounds like it should really stick out, shouldn't it? It should be something very much, a real selling point, really. But it just didn't work. Yeah, very disappointing that. And a strange product as well. I don't know where it came from, to have raspberry flavoured Malteser biscuits. It's just such a random flavour to have for Maltesers, really. And it was a UK product. It wasn't imported or anything. So I don't know if it was done because the people who made the biscuits are probably a different company completely. They just suddenly had extra raspberry flavour going on. They'd made something else raspberry flavoured. So decided, we'll just make a Malteser raspberry biscuit. I don't know. Makes you wonder how they get these decisions sometimes, because that does seem very random, has to be said. Really does. Yeah, really does. Yeah, now possibly, I think this might be the last one for today. Yes, we did remember this one? Yes, the Whisper Gold Salted Caramel. I mean, remember this? Goodness me. Now, I did, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 a year ago. Basically, I don't know. It seemed, I can't believe it took them so long to do this, because they had a Whisper Gold for a long, long time. So basically what they needed to do was flavour the caramel, with salted caramel flavouring or whatever, put salt in it. So it's very straightforward. And salted caramel's been a flavour, that's been on trend for quite some time now. So why it took them so long, I can't fathom, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, it did. And they have only just started doing salted caramel flavours. I think they did them across the board, didn't they? Like the Cadbury Caramel had a salted caramel version. I think they did. We did do anything else. I'm sure there's one other bar that they changed to have salted caramel in. Can't quite think what it was now. But yeah, anyway, they've did a few of them. Might have just been the Cadbury Caramel Egg. I'm not sure, but either way. But the problem with this one is, well, first of all, it's a great bar generally. The Whisper Gold is a nice chocolate bar, really. The problem with it was that the salted caramel just was a bit not great, and it just unbalanced the bar. Basically, you just got too much flavour and not. It was quite an artificial flavour, so it was quite strong. So I think it was salted caramel flavouring. I'm sure it was. Is it actually called? Yeah. So, it was just a bit of a weird one. It's a limited edition bar as well, so I think it's actually gone now. I don't think you can get it anymore. So this is one that's from a year ago that isn't available any longer. Yeah, and it was just a bit disappointing. I think for me, it just unbalanced the bar. It just totally unbalanced the bar. It was quite a nice product, generally, Whisper Gold. But with this addition of salted caramel flavour, it just unbalanced it. It just meant that the caramel was just too strong. It took away from the nice velvety chocolate taste that you get from Cadbury's Whisper generally. I feel like it's just well balanced enough as it was. It didn't need to have this flavour, which is probably why it's a limited edition. Maybe sometimes I don't know, you kind of get the impression that limited edition bars, they kind of don't quite work right. Because if anything, it'd be quite easy to keep this going for a long time. As I say, it's very straightforward. You just literally add in a flavour. But I don't know, a very strange one really. I feel like I don't know, it was just a strange one where it just didn't work as well as you'd think. So I don't know, 3.5 out of 5. I feel like this one you might think it's quite forgettable, and again maybe lower it for the same reasons mentioned before with the raspberry biscuits. But I think generally it's kind of standing on the shoulders of giants really. This one, it's a very nice base of a chocolate bar. So to be honest with you, it kind of already has been knocked back a bit. I think otherwise it's a 4.5 out of 5. I don't feel like lowering it anymore is probably a good idea really, even though it is tempting to. But I think a 3.5 out of 5 is probably about right. And I think for me, probably the same then really. Yeah, I think probably the same. So there we go. Yeah, just a bit of a disappointing one. All round, generally that one, I think. Fair score. I think, thanks Alan. Yeah, it's just a bit of a strange one, a strange product, that one. But I think, still not horrible. It wasn't a horrible bar by any means, but it certainly was underwhelming. Yeah, so disappointing one that. Disappointing to say the least, but yeah. And then some of these ones, they do come and go very quickly. You have them once and you think, all right. And then you sort of forget about it and it's gone. And that's kind of a very forgettable bar, to be honest with you. You could quite easily forget that one ever existed. And we widely don't do like a bit more of an interesting one, like Kit Kat Chunky done recently with hazelnut cream and stuff like that. They could have easily done like a hazelnut cream one, which would have, I don't know. I'm not sure if I don't know. It would have been a bit more interesting. But as I say, it's very easy for them to make this one. If you could get the hazelnut cream about right, I think that might have worked out in its favour a bit more. But again, perhaps it's just requires too much effort on their part to do rather than just changing the caramel. So from one vat of some source of something to another, or just having some guy sprinkling salt into it. I'm not sure, but yeah, there we go. Honestly, there we are. Yeah, so there we go. So I think that's basically it. Yes, I've done 4. That's my 4 reviews from a year ago, 4 from 5 years ago as well. Bit of an interesting one. So I'm hoping to do these every week, as I say. Generally, I might do a stash watch every now and again instead. It can be one of those where it can depend. Let's see if I can start to slowly remove the graphics. Let's have a look. Yes, almost. Anyway, almost seamless. If I do them in the wrong order, kind of is the. There we go. All right, got one still there. Okay, there we go. And the last one. There we are. Yes, there we go. Yeah, so basically, I'm going to try and do these every sort of Saturday, stream one of these lives. Sometimes it could be on Wednesdays, depending on how things work out. But generally, it'll be 7 p.m. UK time on Wednesdays if I do it then. But more often than not, it'll be 4 p.m. Saturday UK time. So yeah, so hope you enjoy those ones. Hope you enjoyed this look back. Great to sort of, as I say, go over the old bars. I'll probably put all the links. Well, hopefully, if I don't forget, I shouldn't do. I'll put all the links for these chocolate bars for my reviews of them in the description. So go check those out if you want to actually see the reviews. Sometimes it's interesting to see the old reviews, even the 5 years ago. I tend to feel like the channel was quite established 5 years ago, but looking at them, I don't know, the quality is still not as good as today. And so I think I'm not sure when the turning point was. Where I think it was when I got my new PC, as I say, which was almost about 2.5 years ago. I think. Probably with my channel, I think became a bit more was a bit more happy with the graphics and things and this, that, and the other. You know, I think before then I was on my old rubbish laptop and rubbish hardware, stuff like that. So yeah, so there we go. But alright guys, hope you enjoyed that. It was great to chat to you all again. Great to see you, Alan. Great to see you, Jen, as well. Great to see you, Jen. As I say, it's been a long time, so good to see you. Glad you're doing well, Jen. I know sometimes you've been a bit unwell, so I'm glad you're doing well. And Scotty, of course, hope you're enjoying your holiday in Portugal. Great to see you again, Scotty. I've been a bit absent in Discord, but I'm hoping to catch up soon. Yeah, good look back. Thanks for all your hard work in compiling them. Oh, no problem, Alan. Thank you so much for appreciating that. Thank you so much. It does take a bit of time, has to be said, but but you know, all things do, don't they? So it's one of those things that are worth it, you know, are never simple. So there we are. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Great to see you, Alan. As I say, thanks so much again for all your support, and everyone else who's watching as well. Thank you so much. Great to see you all, and I hope you're having a lovely Saturday and a lovely weekend. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye for now. See ya.